It's fucking Dropdead! End of the night! Welcome back to Tied Down TV with me, Danny.
And Geoff.
Powerviolence. It's not exactly songs of praise, is it?
No.
If you're one of them basement dwelling weirdos who's got a solo Powerviolence or noise project, it's not the kind of thing you want to take round for your nan and granddad to listen to, is it? You know, you go round there, granddad, listen to this. Before you know it, the paramedics are coming in and he's got the 1,000-yard stare. So it's pretty extreme stuff. It's not for the faint of hearted,
yeah,
as they say.
Definitely not.
Where does it start? Where does it begin? What is it?
Well, what it is, I don't know.
It's linked. It's very similar to grindcore, isn't it?
In a lot of ways,
yeah.
Definitely, and in a lot of ways not as well, because it's quite hard to pin it down, I think. But generally, obviously, that fast speed, more of a hardcore punk thing than maybe a death metal influence like there is in grindcore. I would say more than Powerviolence, but I'd say Powerviolence can be quite experimental as well.
Yeah.
Stuff I've heard anyway.
And are we saying it started with bands like Siege?
I think Siege is
maybe Deep Wounds, stuff like that.
I think Deep Wound influenced a lot of that. Definitely Siege, it would definitely from Boston, they were influenced by hardcore and new wave of British heavy metal. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's the starting point. It's generally recognised, isn't it? For me, anyway. I think.
And it must have terrified people when they first heard
definitely
the Siege demos and stuff like that.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Yeah,
definitely. So, Powerviolence, eh? Should we get to the first pick?
So I think we should start where we've set ourselves up.
Definitely. My first pick, Dropdead by Siege. As we just said, it's probably the godfather of Powerviolence, isn't it? It's proto-Powerviolence, if you like, I guess. It's not, it wasn't even given a name by this point. The name was coined by, what was his name? Matt Domino from Neanderthal, I believe. But this is fucking great. It's fucking fast and furious, like it's Powerviolence, but what when you say Powerviolence, what you think of it? I think it's quite influential on grindcore as well, obviously. Yeah. But for me, it sits more in the Powerviolence than the grindcore camp. I
think it influences grindcore, Powerviolence, crust, all
definitely.
Of it.
Yeah, and even just straight up hardcore. They're big influence on a lot of bands, and obviously the name of this. Quite inspiring for another band, but
who may or may not be on this list.
Pop up, who knows? Yeah. But these are it's fucking great. What do you say about it? Like it came out in the 80s, didn't it? 86, something like that, maybe. I want to say 84 or recorded in 84.
Yeah.
But I think they started around 81, 82. Like I say, they were in Boston, influenced by hardcore, new wave British heavy metal, Motorhead, things like that as well. And just fucking. Like I say, it's just fast, it's political, it's fucking furious, it's fucking brilliant. Not the easiest thing to get hold of, but definitely not the hardest in this genre either to find.
Oh no, this is in some ways this was a hard video to think about doing in the because it's such an underground subgenre of hardcore.
Not always easy to get hold of the releases. And also, a lot of bands' best stuff that isn't on album.
It's very 7-inch. It's a very 7-inch driven genre as well.
Split releases is a massive thing, isn't it? But if you're gonna look into Powerviolence, you start here. For me, anyway, this is where it starts. This is where it begins. It's fucking brilliant, though. Still, for me, still one of my favourites. Hence why it's been picked. Number 1, Siege, Dropdead.
If they want to say invented it, I'd say these underlined it, and that is. Infest, and this is Slave. Yeah. These are obviously you've got a bit of like kind of combine maybe the Youth Crew thing with as well as like an influence from Siege.
Definitely got a bit of that about it.
I mean, what I like about these is they got memorable tunes. I mean, it's easy to get lost in Powerviolence with it all. People would say it sounds the same, but this has got some memorable tunes on. Some of these tunes you hear covered quite a lot, like "Sick Fucking O." And Where's the Unity, especially. Where's the Unity covered by a lot of people. I think they're a band that have never done anything bad. This is also brilliant. I wanted to bring this along. The Mankind 10-inch is also great. Obviously No Man's Slave as well. Everything they've ever done is absolutely amazing. Like I said, I think if Siege were like the starters of it, these certainly underlined it and influenced a lot that was to come from them. So, yeah,
Brilliant.
Infest.
Yeah, again.
Slave is my pick.
Definitely a massive influence on it, and
yeah.
gotta be mentioned.
Yeah.
As of my next pick, so I've gone with a 10-inch. I've gone with Man is the Bastard, AKA Chared Remains, and it's called Abundance of Guns. Now, this is a band that, like, actually when I first heard these, and obviously was kind of aware what Powerviolence was, I thought, I'm not even sure that's Powerviolence, I'll be honest with you. Like, it's experimental.
It has got some
sludgy
moments as
noisy,
well. Yeah.
But then it breaks into fast, and they've got quite a lot of releases. Very massively big part of that 90s California slapper ham era Powerviolence, which is it's fucking huge in California. And I didn't realise how much it was kind of centred around that.
Well, it was funny actually because we made our picks and then we were just like talking about our picks and then we realised, wow, nearly every one of these bands we picked are from California.
Yeah, a lot of them definitely fall into that camp. But Man is the Bastard. If you look up Powerviolence, one of the first bands that are going to come up. It's fucking great, this. And a lot of the other stuff that I have heard, I've not heard much of the stuff they did post this, which is Bastard Noise and stuff like that. But these, very influential, very much part of that. And Eric Woods out of these was in Neanderthal as well, obviously, as I said before, who coined the term Powerviolence, which I believe really was kind of just referring to a group of bands in like hardcore and stuff that were experimenting with new sounds and taking it in new directions. That was the original thinking behind it. But like some Powerviolence, it slows down. But like I say, this is, I'd say, 50% sludgy, 20% noisy, and 30% Powerviolence at best.
Yeah.
It's fucking great, though. And they've got to be mentioned that in the conversation, any conversation you have about Powerviolence, they'll be in it. Always.
Yeah.
And that's number 2 for me.
You know what I've got here, Geoff?
Go on.
Motherfucking Charlie Bronson.
Nice.
Right, so, believe it or not, despite Siege and Infest probably being maybe the two most important, possibly the two most important. Yeah. These were probably my gateway into the genre.
Same.
And the reason that is because this CD here, for some reason, this became like really sought after in my group of friends at the time. Everyone I knew had this, and this has got like 118 tunes on it. And this is definitely probably my pick of it.
Youth Attack.
Yeah, Youth Attack. What the thing I love about Charles Bronson? Well, first off, this is 20 songs in 12 minutes, so that gives you that gives you an idea of what you're in for here, speed wise. What I like about some bands in Powerviolence, they're obviously playing a lot for laughs.
Yeah.
And I think these guys, if you read a lot of lyrics and their song titles, they're taking the piss big time.
Of course they are, yeah.
And I think that might have been what, as young kids, kind of made us.
Attracts you.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It was kind of funny, and I think that attitude maybe rubbed some people up the wrong way. Because I know they had beef with Felix Havoc of Havoc Records and stuff like that. So I really wish I'd seen these live, because footage from their live shows just looks like an absolute blast. It looks like the biggest load of fun ever. Yeah. Loads of another thing I love about Charles Bronson as well is the funny, really funny, like what you call samples at the beginning of the songs. Yeah. So, some of it's really stupid. You don't even know why you're laughing. Some of it's really stupid, but like it's it
works though.
Yeah, you've got a lot of, like, obviously Charles Bronson himself samples from films. You know, you hear stuff on this from Death Wish. 10 to Midnight, I think, is the last sample on here. Messenger of Death, Stone Killer, all the really classic Charles Bronson films you hear like quoted throughout all their work. Again, another band that was had quite a lot of splits and stuff like that, and all that. But yeah, Charles Bronson,
one of the best.
Yeah, definitely my gateway to Powerviolence.
That compilation CD, I had that as well.
Yeah.
It was the one.
It was the one to get, yeah. And I think even that's quite hard to get now.
Yeah, so it is. Yeah, they're not. A lot of this is, like you said before, unless it's getting repressed, which some of it is.
Yeah, and members of these went into playing Los Crudos as well. And if anyone knows, they're an unbelievably good band from Chicago. Yeah. So Charles Bronson, Youth Attack.
Nice pick. So my next pick, I've gone with another big California band, Capitalist Casualties, Subdivision in Ruin. Now, this, again, like the other bands we mentioned, these have released a fucking shitload of split 7 inches and 7 inches of their own stuff. I think this is the second full-length album, and full-length being a loose term because I think it's about 20 minutes long.
That's fucking long,
but it's like a concept prog album in Powerviolence, I didn't know, but strictly speaking, they're a fucking great band. Actually, everything I've heard by them, which isn't everything they've done, pretty good, pretty consistent. I think. I bet the hardcore influence is definitely there. And they were going for quite a long time. The singer died a few years ago, I think. But I'm sure they were going until about 2018, something like that, I think so. And like I say, they were massive. They'll have stuff that's on Slap a Ham and things like that. They were big in that California scene in the 90s.
I've got a couple of splits, but I've never had a
this is all I've actually got a physical copy of by them, but obviously a lot of it's online and can hear it as well on the streamers and all that on YouTube. But this was great, because this was the first thing I just got it, because obviously the name, Casualties, I'd heard of them, big name, I'd never heard the band, so I just got an album that I could find at a reasonable price, got this, and it was fucking great. It blew me away. And even after listening to a few of the other ones, this I think still would be the one I'd go back to, because it's my first introduction to this band. But they're really good, and seek them out for sure. I'm going to try and fucking seek out some more of the stuff myself to get proper physical copies of. Yeah. But it's great. Like I say, I mean, look at the song lines, you know what I mean? Fucking it's amazing, isn't it? It's nothing past like 1 minute, 20 seconds. Amazing. And like you're saying about samples, they have samples, but they're a bit more. Some of them were about substance abuse and things, like a bit more misanthropic maybe. But obviously, name like Casualties, it's got to be a bit more serious, I guess, than your Charles Bronson kind of samples. But fucking classic again, amazing band, great stuff. Go and check that out as well.
Now my favourite of the genre of Powerviolence, and again another band that plays things for laughs. Gone Dwarf, Jester, and Spazz.
Amazing.
I've mentioned before, I think in a video, the reason I love Spazz is 3 members, 3 different, all take turns in singing, just adds to the schizo-ness of the music. You go, another thing, like I've seen like footage of them playing live again. I love the fact that all 3 of them, for how mental the music is, the 3 members look like they could be a school teacher.
College professors on.
Yeah. But you know what I really love about Spazz? What I really, really love about Spazz is their use of 70s Kung Fu samples, Kung Fu film samples and imagery. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm a huge fan of all that stuff anyway, so I always naturally gravitated towards this just from hearing the samples. The music's great, but like I said, just from off my head now, I can think of splits and t-shirts and EPs where they've used images from Game of Death, Enter the Dragon, Black Belt Jones, Invincible Armour, Master of the Flying Guillotine, and I know they called themselves Golden Harvest Hardcore as well, which, I'm always going to love it, do you know what I mean?
I would agree. Probably, I think, because obviously I know they're your favourite band in this genre, so I couldn't say I'm going to have Spazz because you're going to have Spazz. But I would agree they're probably one of the best in the genre. Fucking mental. Like that, I can't remember if it's on this album or one of the other ones. There's fucking banjos and everything rocking up in Spash tunes. It's amazing.
But it doesn't make you go, oh, it's being too arty.
It's like it's
great. Just like I said, it's played for laughs a lot of times.
Yeah, I remember reading as well that a lot of their lyrics in jokes that maybe like their band members and 4 of their mates would get, and that's it. Just properly taking the piss out of their own scene and things like that, and the people in the scene.
I'm not sure. I think it might be Tank Crimes Records, possibly as not just actually has released like 3 massive discographies of all their stuff, which is a lot of stuff. Like Sweating to the Oldies, Sweating to the Oldies Part 2. Yeah. The weirdest thing about these, I find, they did a fucking split with, of all bands, 25 to Life. Yeah.
Not a fan of that band.
I am.
But yeah. I've heard
isn't that a weird split to do? Spazz and 25 to Life.
You wouldn't put them together,
no.
But they're fucking great. Great. Yeah, if you're gonna go away and check out any of the bands that we're talking about, you're not familiar. That could be a good one to start with, I think.
Well, 625 Thrash is the label this is on. Yeah. So I'd recommend anyone who's just like maybe is watching this video just from our previous videos that isn't familiar with the genre, Google all the discography of 625 Thrash and Slap a Ham Records. You're gonna find all the best stuff.
Pretty much all the classics.
On any of them labels. So but that's my next pick. Dwarf, Jester, and Spazz.
Great band, amazing pick. So my next one, we hinted at it before, and here they are. Dropdead, the self-titled from 1993. There's obviously the repress, as you can see the reflection on it. But I think these are probably my favourite.
They're one of mine too.
In the genre, and I'm aware there's probably some people out there who are going to go, don't class these as Powerviolence. I'm aware a lot of people don't. I kind of think it's the only thing that fits them properly, though.
What are they if they're not that?
Speed and intensity. Someone called them fastcore. I Do you kind of know what that means? I'm not really that
hardcore fast
faster
anyway.
than
Thrashcore,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think you're splitting hairs sometimes when it comes to play. But anyway, besides the point, for me, it's Powerviolence. It's fucking amazing, though, isn't it? Like, just his vocals. That's what, for me. Obviously, they're hyper political, very left, vegan, and a lot of their lyrics are based on animal rights.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a little bit of anarcho stuff going on.
Definitely anarcho, definitely crusty as well.
Same with their artwork too.
Oh, their artwork's very fucking cool. I mean, look at that. That's anarcho, isn't it?
Yeah.
But a great band. I heard it describe this album: 34 songs of pulverizing political hate, social disgust, and self-loathing. And that does kind of sum it up. And also a few other bands in the genre, to be fair.
Yeah.
But this, like, again, I don't think I've heard any. I've heard most of the Dropdead stuff now. I don't think any of it's bad, really.
No, and it's Dropdead in it. As soon as you hear it,
you
it's
know
Dropdead.
Even they put out that album a few years ago, which was called Dropdead, believe it or not. And his vocal delivery's a bit different now. You can kind of like make out what he's saying quite clearly.
Funny story.
It's still good.
Funny story as well. Last year we went to see Napalm Death and we didn't even know, and it turned out they were fucking supporting them. I was like, it's fucking Dropdead.
And that was a good day. That was good because that was a great gig anyway. There was good bands on that day, but fucking these were great. They fucking knocked it out the park. Like, great band for me. Like I say, this is gold standard in the genre.
And it was going to be on my list if it wasn't on yours.
Exactly. We could have swapped Spazz and these. Both we could have, but yeah. And so again, check out Dropdead, fucking class.
I know I've mentioned bands there that maybe play for laughs a little bit in Charles Bronson and Spazz. I'm gonna go to a bit more serious end of the spectrum here. Despise You, Westside Horizons. Yeah. This is pretty much everything they've done. Again,
it's a discography.
These are from Inglewood, of all places.
Always up to no good.
Yeah. And it's reflecting a lot of their lyrics. You know, there's a lot of lyrics about gang violence and drug addicts and stuff like that.
Speaking of like misanthropic power violence,
look at
the album cover.
The singer Chris Elder, he was I think he was a pretty troubled guy. To be fair, he's some pretty dark lyrics, a lot of self-hatred, and they never played live, especially in their first.
No, the first incarnation,
because he suffered from serious stage fright. But I think what makes these stand apart maybe is the fact that the bassist Lulu Hernandez, who was also like the backing vocalist, I think she was only like 14, 15, 16 when this was recorded. So her voice kind of it sounds like a primal child, not child's, but you know, it's like a primal like yell, you know, her vocal, and it's so you've got his almost typical Powerviolence vocal with her like. And it really makes it stand out as something that's on its own. Do you know what I mean? It's they're a great band, like we were saying. A lot of this stuff really does seem to come from LA. It seems to have a real hotbed for power. Really great,
especially the early '90s stuff, like you say, and that's where Slapper Ham was based as well, wasn't it? So.
Another one re-released on Tank Crimes.
Yeah.
So that's my next pick. Despise You, Westside Horizon. Very easily available. If you want to.
Not expensive, really, like in vinyl standards. That's another one as well that I probably would have picked if you hadn't chose it. So my fifth pick, I've gone for this is maybe a little bit out of left field, but I've gone for it anyway. No Comply, East Coast Powerviolence compilation. It's a fairly recent discovery for me, to be fair. Maybe in the last few months when obviously we were starting up this channel and we were talking about some of the genres we wanted to do. So I refreshed my memory on a few Powerviolence bands and I came across these. I'd never heard them before. Picked this comp up and I thought, I'm having this, actually. This is really good. And I've listened to it quite a lot fairly recently, really into it. It's quite bass-driven in places, even mid-paced at times, isn't it? Like hardcore almost, but obviously fast-burst, Powerviolence. A lot of songs on here. This is, again, I think it's made up of most of their discography, which is pretty much all 7 inches splits, 10 inches here or there. They're from St. Augustine, I think, in Florida. And I don't know massive amount more about the band, to be perfectly honest, but I know I really fucking like it, and I think you can get it for about 20 quid as well, which was, you know, pretty cool in Powerviolence things, because this is obviously a repress, but it's cool, like, and like I say, it was recent discovery for me, but I was actually quite pleasantly surprised. It's really good, a little bit sounding different to some of the other picks I picked, so, you know, check them out as well.
Oxnard, California. It's give us some classic legendary bands. Stalag 13, Aggression, In Control, Ill Repute. It also gave us these. Nails, Unsilent Death. I remember when this came out, everyone was talking about this. Everyone was like, you need to hear this, it'll blow your fucking ears out. Yeah. And it does. It is pulverising, it's chaotic, violent, unrelenting. It's just constant. It's about maybe 15 minutes long of just absolute fucking...
Doesn't slow down. Not slowing down one bit.
No, it's pretty ruthless. I think the thing as well, like, that drew me to it when it was doing the rounds and people was the fact that they used the Hellhammer Triumph of Death kind of take on the artwork, and I'm a huge Hellhammer fan, and I got it, and it did not disappoint me. The only thing that disappointed me is the fact I've never got to see these live.
Yeah. Did they not play that much, to be fair, over here?
I do remember them coming over, I just never got to see them, but...
I've only heard that, I've not heard it.
Yeah, the frontman was originally in Terror, I know that, so, who aren't my favourite band in the world, it has to be said.
Not a big fan of them.
No, but yeah, this got released on Southern Lord, and it is just fucking... It's unbelievably fucking heavy.
Again.
Like I said to you at the beginning, this is... People, I'm sure you know it's not for the faint-hearted, and this album definitely is not for the faint-hearted. No. Well, that's my last pick.
Probably the most recent release, actually, picked.
Oh, it is, yeah. I think it came out about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Nails, Unsilent Death.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So those are our top 5 picks. Honourable mentions, I'm going to go Black Army Jacket, 222.
And I'm going to go No Comment, Downsided.
Nice. Good choice. And join us next time when we're going to be doing part 2.
Of American Hardcore, 85 to 89.
Nice. See you then. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Jump over onto Instagram, Facebook. We're on there now. Give us a little like and a follow. And see you next time. That's what I say! That's what I do!